massage. We get a neck massage. We get a neck massage. You know what I'm saying?
What do you do? What's the call?
Monica, you should be here. You could make some money, girl. Stop playing. Monica, what you doing?
To be fair, I mean, he's supposed to be social distancing.
If you in LA, come through. If you in LA, Monica, come through.
Look, to be honest with you, it's like I don't see nothing wrong with having a good time. I don't see anything wrong with having a good time. Paul. Paul. See, the funny thing about all of this is kind of where it goes left. I'm all for having like a good time, but if this is what's the chances that he's done this before? I feel like Paul's probably done something like this before, and like the audio, the nails is ridiculous. I ain't feeling them nails. She cute though. I ain't feeling them nails though. Paul, they all look a little young too, to be honest. They look young, Paul. They look young. Them girls right there can't be no more than 21, 20. I feel them though, like for living life, but it's like, come on, Paul. Look, I don't either. I wouldn't either. I'm like, y'all just don't worry about what I got going on. We ain't worrying about no social distancing. It is what it is. Like at this point, it is what it is. We're not worried about it.
We got his ass. We finally got his tight ass.
Paul Paul drunk. Paul drunk. Look at Paul. Paul drunk.
Skip Shabbat to come here and lose 20,000.
Paul drunk.
What is the bet?
Hey, he skipped Shabbat.
Keep that in there. Okay.
Hey, he skipped Shabbat.
All right, so
I'm not fucking Jewish, bro.
yeah.
Oh, he said
So I mean, we all in agreement that Paul was pretty much like tipsy, which is fine.
I wish I could.
You know, my man had a couple of drinks, got a little nice, and decided to have a good evening with the boys. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. It's a nice evening with the boys. They had some dances come through, but if you look at it from a standpoint of responsibility as far as social distancing is concerned, this would be a perfectly calm, cool, collective night out. If it just wasn't so happened to be in the middle of a pandemic.
Can somebody invite me to their Shabbat? I would love to have a sit down meal like
I wanted to defend Paul for this so bad, but it's almost like I can't. It's almost like I can't do it. I want to defend him really bad. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, man, like, because everybody talking about, well, he married and all this. So what? Like, I mean, so what? He ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing that, millions of married men do at the strip club every single night. Like, the strippers rub on them, they twerk on them, and they throw money at them, and that's that. Like, he ain't cheating or nothing. That's just funny when people bring in his marriage into it. I'm just like, they don't got nothing to do with it. Like, it's no different for him going to the strip club. I mean, it's just, they're at the crib. They're at somebody's house, they cleared it out and made it a little gambling area. I mean, it seemed like a good night with the fellas. Just drinking, smoking, talking. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Now, the irresponsibility comes with the pandemic. I mean, yeah, you work for Disney. so twerking, like, Paul wouldn't have went on live. I'm younger than Paul. Like, I'm a little bit younger than Paul, too. I don't even got Instagram like that. And I got a job to where they will look up, your social media history and like what you've been doing and like who you on here talking to and what you doing and all this other stuff. You got to kind of like move around a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to kind of be careful, because when you get to a certain level, you start having these kind of jobs that will research that because they have images to uphold. You just got to kind of be cognizant of that. And I feel like Paul is cognizant of that. I feel like he didn't think he was doing anything wrong, but it's like, Paul, we still in the pandemic. I think that was the biggest thing. like the pandemic, and then you had strippers and stuff like that. I feel like if it wasn't a pandemic, maybe they would have let him off with a slap on the wrist. I don't know. It is Disney, but it's just like, nah, I don't know. Paul, and the funny thing is, Paul is sensibly intelligent. Like, he's reasonably intelligent. Like, I know everybody kind of gets on him about when he says silly stuff all the time and da 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 da. I'm saying he's better than Dwayne Wade, which, to be honest with you, if you want to have a basketball conversation between Paul Pierce and Dwayne Wade, and it's not out of the ballpark, like what Paul Pierce said. Like, I don't think he's better than Dwayne Wade, but there's an argument. Like, there's an argument. If you talk about in totality as a basketball player, you take away, like, the fluff and just look at straight basketball as a basketball player. I mean, it's not like Paul Pierce trash. Like, he is a Hall of Famer. Back in 2008, there wasn't a month span where Paul Pierce, you could argue that Paul Pierce was the best player on the planet. Like, when they went on their championship run, Paul Pierce was dominant in that last month. So, don't just write Paul Pierce off just because he might say some stuff you don't agree with. A lot of stuff Paul Pierce says, he's not far off. But yeah, it was just a bad decision. I don't know if they should have fired him though. Like, they smooth fired him. Like, y'all tell me if y'all see this video. Like, put in the comments, like, they should have fired Paul Pierce. I don't know if firing. I don't know. I don't know if firing is the right thing to do right there. For instance, I don't know if firing is the right thing to do. Maybe you suspend, because I'm pretty sure there's people up there at ESPN that have done way worse, and they've just been slapped on the wrist. Now, like, again, the differential situation is the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, that's where like all bets is kind of like off. So I don't know, but I don't think Paul Pierce should be fired. Like, I mean, suspend him for a little bit, bring him back in about a month or two. I think he adds something to the programming. To me, that shows me somebody's been wanting to get rid of Paul low-key. It's probably either Rachel Nichols or it's probably the women up there, to be honest with you. The Rachel Nichols, the Molly Karams, what's that other lady that got Stephen A in trouble? What's that lady's name? Michelle Beadle.
So what would y'all do with this?
Like the old looking lady. So Michelle Beadle, like, I could see them banding together and being outraged or whatever, because they're like worthless, low key. No, worthless. Like, none of them. I mean, Rachel kind of brings some sort of context and some sort of like brings something, but it's just like for the most part they're just there.
What should I do with that?
They don't say nothing, doing nothing. They're just not entertaining. Like, I don't know. But yeah, at least Paul brings entertainment. Paul says some stuff that other people don't say. You know what I'm saying? I've noticed that about these little 08 Celtics dudes or whatever. They're pretty outspoken. Between Paul and Perk and Big Baby and was Baby on the? I think Baby was on the 08.
I got second nuts.
Baby and KG, like, they run their mouth a lot. But yeah, Paul, man, free Paul Pierce. Hashtag free Paul Pierce. That's all I gotta say about it. It's hashtag free Paul Pierce.